in this opening. There's nothing too controversial here. We have 4-3-2 ace, but they're all offsuit. That's certainly not the place we'd like to start when we have queens and jacks. One of the queens will go on the king, but for starters, I'll just move one of these jacks that's on the piles that are a little bit shorter. One jack being gone now means we have a low demand for receiving twos, so I'm going to put this ace on there. Now we got another 4. That means we have low demand for receiving 4s. I'll put the 3 on there. Here's a 9. The 8 can go on that later, but it's not now a priority. I think now we go back to moving the other jack. Okay, and now we have here a queen. And since this pile only has 3 cards under it, I'm going to choose now to move that queen over. And I don't know if I have to move this jack, but I guess I'll leave it over there for now. Okay, so we got a 5. Well, 5, let's see. There are 2 4s, but here's an in-suit 4, so I'm going to try that. Okay, now we have 9, 8, and 7. And we have the 5, 4, 3, 2, and ace. Now let's see if there's anything interesting to say about all this. I don't want to junk up this one pile that has only 2 cards under it, but it turns out there's no strong motive to do that. I can just move this here, this 2, from a fairly short pile onto that 3 like that, and I get a 6, and that's good. That gives me double opportunities. Okay, this is one of these things where you could even argue this both ways, but my best chances of getting a space are these 2 piles here. I could put the 6 on the 7 and the 5 on the 6. On the other hand, I would then be giving up one known move from this 7 over to the 8. But to do, and not have to move the 9 to the 8. I think under the circumstances, I'm going to give up this move on the possibility that one of these 2 cards here is one that can use a home on an 8 or a 9. So here goes the 6. We get another queen, which is, we now have 4 of them. Look at that. And here's a jack. Well, that's good. The jack has 2 places to live, and those are there and there. Here's an ace, and we can, as a reversible move, get a space. Now, if we go back to where we were in the king, queen, jack department, there's nothing exciting happening. The only obvious move we have left, I see, is to put this 8 on the 9. As I knew would happen, we would lose the chance to put the 7 on the 8 unless something else good comes up. So, another queen. Well, that's certainly not exactly what we wanted. I would love to try making these more atomic by, for instance, getting this 3-2 ace over onto the 4, but I don't think there's any way I can do that. The best I can do here, I think, is to put this queen in the space, and then the queen from the shortest pile up here, but at least it'll be in suit over here on the king of clubs. And what I get is a 4. Okay. So I think that means it's time to deal. I can try my little hint. Yeah, even the hint thinks that it's time to deal. So that was certainly a disappointing deal. There's very little we can do with 6, 8, 6, queen, 8, 4, 6, ace, 8, 6, king, 4. The only card we actually can move at this point is the queen of spades, right onto there. And we could move the jack of diamonds over here, but that isn't going to help us. Having done that, we're out of moves. So there's nothing to do that deal the next deal. this may be one of these rare times when it's actually, we can get a space by simply moving the two sixes onto sevens and the queen onto the king. But I think this may be a case where that's not actually the helpful thing to do. Um, if we look at what else might happen here, these queens, this queen needs a king, and of course, if we use that king to make the space, we can't move that. Um, this we may be able to actually get a space out of this if we first move if we move the 6 onto the 7, the 8 onto the 9, 8 onto the 9, 9 onto the 10. We can do that too, but once again, we couldn't do it if that 7 was already tied up. Okay. Um, so the other thing we note here is that 4s are not going anywhere, so we're not going to make any progress here, or not in there, or here. These are kings, and this is a 10. Okay, and it's got a 4 under it. So all of this is off limits. But we may make progress in these two columns here. And let me think. I think we might actually be able to. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's often what happens here. This 10 can find a home on this jack if we do it. I can't work it all out, but I think we're actually better off not. We're better off not getting the space, even though we could get a space here. Let's see what happens. Okay, I have to get. I have to get this out of the way first because I need a place to put that 7 before I could move the 9. So, okay. Now the 7 can go anywhere. I'm not sure of a strong reason to do this one way or the other. I'm going to try this way and see what's under there. It is a jack. Well, the jack has a home. There's a queen here, but it's got one of those immovable 4s on top of it. There's a queen here, but we would need to have moved both 6s, and we only have 1 7. There's a queen here, and it has a 3. Now, this is kind of interesting because even though we can't make a space this time, we would really like to be able to make a space later. So instead of just putting that there, well, the first thing I think I'm going to do is just move this 9 of spades and learn more about the situation from that. And I get a 3. Okay. That will pose a dilemma for me. Well, at this point with the 2 jacks, this is also a case where receiving jacks are in, relatively plentiful, so I'll move this one over. And now this is interesting because an interesting point here. I have a choice between uncovering a card here with a 3. Well, first of all, are there any other 4s I can get at? This is the only receiving 4 I think I can use. There's one here, but I'd need a 10 to put that on. And I gave up my 10. But the thing is, we also could use this 4 to take this 3. Oh, I see. Actually, that probably is the best thing to do because then, well, I'm not positive which is best, but I think we had a choice here between either uncovering a card here or making this much easier to get a space next time. We better get a space pretty soon or we will be in trouble. So I'm just going to move this 3 over here. I move the 2. I guess I didn't have to do it in that order, but and then move this jack of spades, and I get a 5. Well, a 5 is a wonderful card. We were speaking of being unable to move any 4s, and now we can, of course, move 4s. We also can just claim our space there. So now we actually have a space, and I can pause for a moment and think about what to do next. Well, I'm not sure what to do next. I don't see any brilliant things lurking in the background here, so with the plentiful 6s, I'm just going to see what's under there. It is a 9. There are no receiving 10s on the board at the moment. So I think I will, what'll I do? There's only the 1 4, but I may want to move this 7 of spades onto the 8, but I can still do that after I see what's under here. And I get an 8. Well, that means there are 2 receiving 8s, but I also have now a spade suit building up over here. Now the 9 of diamonds. I don't think it matters much which I do here. And we get a king. Kings are, as usual, rarely anything we really, really want. But I do note that we're getting a pretty good spade suit. We already have king down to 4 of spades, and we have a 2 here. So I think there's a merit to putting this together, moving this 8 of spades over, and then moving that over, so we get most of the spades there. The other thing I'd like to do, without a strong reason to do anything else, is to make it easier to get this space back after we do the next deal. I can do that, just leave a 6 here instead of 2 6s on a queen, so I'm going to do that. And now the best that I can think to do is to put this 8 over here. Think a little about, oh, well, okay, so here I can do this little detail. I said that I had the 2 of spades here, so better to put it in the same pile so it doesn't get lost under a king, for instance. So I'll do that and see what's under the 9. It is a 10. Oh, that's a wonderful card, because we can both get the space back and see what's under it. And I don't think there's anything all that clever to be done. There's no other 10 that wants to go here instead, so just see what it is. And we get a jack. Well, that's very good, because now we have 2 spaces. We don't have any free way to uncover a card here. I already mentioned we had spades going up pretty well. Hearts are not looking so great with what's available to us, really, but diamonds actually has some potential. We got king, queen, jack here, 9 here, and 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 over there, and 2 here. But yeah, of the places to explore, I think I'm going to look at this column 10. I'm going to be giving up a space to see what's under there. But first I'm going to see if I can put the diamonds together as best I can. With 2 spaces you can often do wondrous things, but here I'm just going to, let's see. I'll move that over so I have that. Now, what I have to give up here is, since I have 2 4s, and no 5 to receive them, one of those is going to go in space. And under the circumstances, I of course would love to keep these together. Well, here's a little opportunity with a 7 of clubs in the space, and I can easily just put the 6 of spades in the space and the 6 of clubs up there, so I have clubs in better shape. I have lots of 6s. I could still use another 5 or 2, but our spades are here. We didn't get a 3 or an ace. Now, in terms of the 8, I'm going to figure that we already have we have at least one other reason that we want a 4. So in terms of making a sort of junk column, I think this is a good column to make junk. And with that in mind, I put this 8 over here. I move this over here. And now the 7-6 at least is going in line with the 8. So I can use that to uncover a new card. The 5 of hearts is a lovely card to have. And of course, we immediately get a second space back. And I'm looking over this a little bit. When I look at the diamonds, I realize, King, Queen, Jack, 9 are over here. Also, there's a 6 underneath. But I have this 8, 7, 6 of clubs together, but I would rather actually put that over here and plan to build more diamonds over there if I can. The clubs don't do me that much good in that spot. So I'm going to swap these around. It may not be that important, but now with this 5 here and receiving 6s, I will just fight what's under it. I get a 7. Well, now 7 is a nice card. The receiving 8 is under here. It can receive, well, of course, you can read the 6 here. We now have 3 spaces. In terms of looking for more cards, we once again have kings on several of our piles. Only these 2 are king free. This one, however, we have no homes for any of those 3 cards. So this looks like the next place to look for, to go digging rather than this, even though there's only 3 cards here. But first, of course, we would like to see what's under here. We're going to give up a space, but we can use this. We at least can simplify things in the process by getting this 9 out of here. And that, actually helps with our goal of getting more. Okay, so here's one of these things where my spade suit is lined up nicely here, but on the other hand, I do want to recover spaces. And so rather than making a junky pile over here, a nice clean pile of spades, I think, would be my preference. I could be very, very well be wrong that that's the right thing to do, but that's what I'm going to do. So there's the clean spades, and here come the diamonds. Here comes what's under there, and we get a 10. Well, that's a lovely card. We have a jack for it, but we also can see that it goes right into this sequence here of diamonds, so we can recover it in that order. So now we have diamonds building up pretty nicely over here, and we have others of them. Do I feel like moving these around yet? Let's see. Oh, well, here's a little improvement. We have 2 diamonds here and a 3 of diamonds there. That surely is an easy choice. Now we have 4 spaces, and in terms of the number of cards that we could expose that are not under kings, there's really only these 7 of them here. Um, so exposing cards isn't gets to the point where it's not the most important thing. Um, since those spades are no longer in a space, I mean, since there's no longer a need at the moment for a 9 in the space, I'm going to put the spades back together again over here uh, so that we have at least as many spades in that column as we can. Um, now I'm just looking under. I'd be willing to put a king in a space if there was something underneath I really wanted. But for instance, here on the left, under this king, there's a 6, but I don't have any 5s that need homes. There's a jack. I don't have any 10s that need homes. There's no place to put a king. Under here, we have, if we put this 9 in the space, we have a 4, but we have plenty of 4s and nothing to do with the queen. If we put this 6 in the space, we'd have space for a 10. Now, the one advantage of that is that we could then start putting our club suit together in a more fitting way, because we can put the 10 of clubs on it and then come over and take that 8-7-6 in there as well. So that has an advantage. And we can also get the diamonds a little better. So I'm going to actually do that right now. I mean, I could, I suppose, put this 4-3 in the space and get more information first, and actually that's what I'll do. I'll get more information first. Another 4. Well, isn't that wonderful? Putting 1 card in the space was plenty, I think. So I will continue with this plan of cleaning up the rest of life here. So we start the clubs together here. Now, the 8 of clubs over there. Yeah, this 8 of spades is not of terrific interest because we have this spade suit we're building over here. So we're happy to stick that within the bunch of diamonds, okay? And then we can put these diamonds over on here. So see, now we have a very nice run of diamonds. We're missing just the ace and the 8, I think. Would let us remove that suit. And here's the hearts, here's this. Pretty good clubs here, missing the 9. The 4-3's over there. So at first glance, this looks about as cleaned up as it's going to get. We sort of have an idea of diamonds on the left, hearts sort of in column 4, clubs in column 8, spades in column 9. So let's just see what's underneath this 4. Another 6. Well, I could expose it, or I could use one of my. I've said in previous videos that sometimes I don't just go for a card, but maximize the chances of getting a space back. And here's a great thing. For instance, this 5-4 of hearts in this space. We weren't on the verge of removing any heart suit, so that's not any great loss. But now this 5-4 has, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 different 6s that it can go on. So after the next deal, if we can get rid of this card that falls on there, that's a way to get a space. The alternative would be, having 4-6, 4-6 in the space, in the spaces, and I judge this to be more flexible. So there we go, and here's the next deal. Well, this leaves us in a complicated situation from which, boy, it's hard for me to figure out just where we do best. But we did not get a 3 and ace of spades, so spades are not a candidate for removal. The hearts are still pretty ragged here. Diamonds, we did get the 8 of diamonds, okay, so that would be worth doing. And we have the ace of diamonds, so I think that means there's there's a diamond suit under there to be removed, and that is probably a high priority here. We got one receiving 5, and we have 2 4s sitting in spaces that would make use of that. And so it's worth a thought about which of those we want to use in that regard. This 2 here, okay, we have a 3 lurking under here if we move this 10, and we probably want to expose that. And then that would let us move, yeah, I don't know quite how to say it, but here's an 8. There's no other 8s that need a home at the moment, so I think I'm just going to move that onto the 9. Here's a 10, the jack, 10 goes onto the jack. This goes over here. Now, we've used up the 5, so we can't get anywhere with this 4, but we do have a card we can expose here. We also have the ability to get another space by use of the 5s. If we use up our 7 here to get this 6 instead, I'm not at all sure that's best, but what the heck. We're going to use up our, yeah, we have several 2s, so we don't mind using up that. And there we get that. Now we have our 2 spaces, and we said a diamond suit, removing a diamond suit would be a good thing to do here. We have the cards for it. And so without agonizing about that too much, I can put the 9 and the 8 over here. The ace of diamonds swaps over into that very nicely. Here's the 7. There's the 8 of spades. Now, I just move this 8 of diamonds over and I'll get a diamond suit. However, I would then lose my ability to swap. So I'm going to pause before doing it to see what else do I want to do after I do that. It's going to expose a 6, which is not of terrific interest to us at the moment. And we can then start putting our hearts together. So we'll have Queen Jack here, which can go on this king. We can then come up with the 10. 9, 8 from over here is looking good. I think that's probably yeah, we just go right ahead and do that, I think. Okay, so there goes our first suit. We still have 2 spaces for the moment. However, if we put that 6 in the space, then we're down to the land of the 1 space, which is often, got to be careful. I'm going to try fiddling around here. These are hearts I'm going to want to pull out. So I'm going to use up this 3 with this 2. Of course, if I got a 5, then I could get a space there, but that's not where we are right now. Okay, so now I'm just going to clean things up a bit. Looking at it again, I believe we can't take a club suit off, but we can get closer than I thought. And, if we put a 2 in the space, then, well, first of all, if we can uncover this spade thing we have here, then we'll have a better chance of removing it when we do get the ace and the 3. And I'm hoping that with the right cards here, I can actually improve these clubs quite a bit. And this 6 of clubs will go here, and some other 6 will go in the space. And now I get to see if I can actually do it. one important thing is the the 9 of clubs can pop in there. Oop, wait a second. I think we lose too much flexibility to continuing with my club plan here because I don't know quite what the word for it is, but at a certain point you get saturated. If you have like, king down to 7 in every suit and you don't have any free receiving 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, or king, then it's much harder to move things around. So I'm kind of thinking that I like this 8 as a stepping stone. I'm not real eager to get rid of it right away. Um, so my plan to go out before the next deal is going to be just to clean up these clubs here. But I find this club heart thing just too tempting to resist. So I'm going to give up one of my spaces here and reveal um, and get the clubs and the hearts in better order. Um, now, what goes where? I do not have good intuitions about what goes where, so I'm going to just put the 6 of spades in there and the 6 of clubs here, and I get a queen of clubs. Well, that gave me one space back. And so one of the interesting things too is that now I have a little room to work with. I may be able to do that club maneuver that I couldn't before. I've uncovered the spades, which I can use as a sort of lubricant for some of these other moves. And I can put this 7 and 6 of clubs here and then have this awkward thing here. But if I dig in here into my spade stuff, I can say, well, I want to swap a club and a spade to get these things in order, so I can just borrow the spades from that set there. Now I can just move the 8 of clubs here, the 8 of spades there, the 8 of clubs here. Now if I want to complete the clubs over here, I can do the 9 of spades here, 9 of clubs there, 9 of spades there. And then since spades are happening over here and not over here, now I can pay back what I borrowed from the spade suit. And now I have clubs down to 6. If we had a 5, we could remove clubs. I had this plan of putting the 6 of diamonds in the space, but the one thing I do see, for instance, is that this column 3 I have pretty much decided is a junk column. If we are going to build hearts, I will do it over here where we would reclaim the space for it. And so just putting all these clubs together is good in and of itself. But the 6 is just one card away from, if I want to get at the jack, there's only one thing in the way. Over here, is there a place to put this stuff? Nothing obvious, really. I'll just put that 2 of spades back as far as there. And now, once again, there's this question about, well, I'm going to have to deal again. What do I want to do? I have 2 atomic things that I'll be able to possibly retrieve for space. This 2 here and this 6 here. And then there's this 4-2 here combination. I could try putting some 5 in the space, which could go up, again, find a home on one of these many 6s, or I could put this 2 over here, like this, just doing that for demonstration purposes. That leaves all of these atomic, and that has some benefits, but still, I don't know, being who I am, I'm going to put the 5 of hearts in the space, really hoping that I'll be able to get this one back on one of these 4 6s. Um, so we don't have a doubling cube or anything, but I would say we're in pretty good shape with 2 deals left, and uh, you know, pretty much. Let's see, one suit removed, one with one card remaining needed, and one with two, and the hearts are not hopeless. So here's the next deal. We got fives. We got 3 5s that came up here, which changes we were really looking for them, so that's good. But it changes our calculus. Looking at things that we cannot easily move, for instance, there's no place for 2s to go, so these 2 columns are not going to lead us to space right away. And there are no 7s, so this is not going to lead us to space right away because of this 6 over here. So we're not going to have tons of space. We'll have to make do with what we have here. We got the 5 of clubs, and so certainly removing that to expose a card under there is one of the top possibilities. You don't, with one space, what else could we do? We can't move this 9 of hearts over to make the hearts better. And the only queen of hearts is under the king, so that's not great. Yeah, not finding any great reason that I have to do one or the other of these, so I will just do that to get my space. I do not really want, well, I think it's, let's see, did I use up my last 6 in doing that? No, I haven't. I have another one over here, which I can now use to uncover that card. Which is, I think, the best we can do at the moment. We get a 3. That's 3 is wonderful, because we were saying we couldn't do anything with 2s. Now we can. And the 2 that we can, well, I was going to say that this would be the 2 to work with. If only we had a place to put the jack, but guess what? The other card, the card that blocks our receiving queen, is a 2, so we have a couple of 2s. But we have 3 receiving 4s, so we can just look under here. By the way, it's one of the spades we were missing, so that's interesting to know. Another 3, well, that's wonderful. Now we actually can retrieve that space by using that 2 that way, and using that 3 that way and that 3 that way. So now we actually have 2 spaces, and it's always nice to have 2 spaces. I still have 2 4s sitting around, so I'm going to look what's under here before thinking too long about things. There's a jack. Well, that wasn't our favorite. How close are we in the hearts? Let's see. We have a king here, we have a queen jack there, we have a 10 here, we have a 9 here, but we can't use it without giving up a space, can't move it. We have an 8, we're missing a 7 of hearts, so that's no good, but we do have 6, 5, and 4. But anyway, hearts is not, getting hearts off is not really going to be something that we are going to do soon. So let's see. What can we do? We also might be able to just do little retail bits of cleaning up here. We could maybe move this 10 onto the jack at least. That would be a step in the right direction. And with 2 spaces, usually that can be done. I can just split the spades briefly. So now, let's see. What I think I see here is that uh, there are 4 cards under here, and I believe that I can get there by using up just a single space. Because if I can move this 9, then there's a home here for that 4, and there's a king home there for the queen, and I will then be able to move that jack. So there's all kinds of reasons to do that if I can. I know that this 3 is the one that goes in the spade sequence, but I have a 5 here that I cannot move given the way the cards currently lie. I would, when I do move that 9 into the space, I'd rather move it over here if I can. So anyway, let's see what it all adds up to. Okay. Now, I think it may be just too hard. You know, there's a lot of cards that need to hang on a 9. We don't have any, stepping stones except way down here on a 5. So in order to do that 9 of hearts thing that I was talking about, we need to have basically something from a 9 we can move to a space, move the 9 over, and of course the space itself is, we'd like to be able to get a space back. So I don't know, maybe it could be done better, but I'm not going to worry about that at the moment and expose a couple cards at least. I can, of course, do this little maneuver to see what's under the Jack of Diamonds first. It's a King of Clubs. That's not of great value to us. Now we got a 7 of Hearts. Well, that's good. Oh, that lets us get another space back with assuming that we have the cards for it with 1 space. It's a little tricky, but okay. So now we have 2 spaces again. Our heart suit still is not terrific here. Though, quite possibly, let's see, yeah, quite possibly we can sort the hearts out a lot better. We won't get the queen, but we can hopefully get from the jack on down. I bet we can do that. So you're going to want to put that 9 in. That's going to be a big step of this. So there go the spades out. There comes the 9 in. I'm going to grab the 8 of Hearts here and put that in. Now we have a 7 of Hearts there, but I don't think we can do that at the same time that we maximize our chances of regaining the space. So I'm going to just do this. Now, I'm sort of doing this from the point of view of, thinking ahead to where will I be able to regain spaces, and that's what I see. Well, let's see. Okay. If I could put the 7-6 in the space, that would have advantages. This is getting to that point when one of these ones where I kind of gnash my teeth because I think, oh gosh, if I was a little smarter, I could figure this out. But I do not have a three of hearts. Okay. Um, I would like to keep this atomic, but on the other hand, that Queen of Hearts is hidden under here, so removing Heart suit is not likely to be our favorite. Um, I think I'd like to use up a space to try to get my spades back in order here. Um, and I'll make a point or two as I'm doing that. See, I've been building my spades on this king over here, but there's this king here. Well, which of those, if I do get to remove spades, which one would I rather move? Well, I'd far rather remove this one over here, partly because it has that Queen of Hearts I want under it, but also under this king, what do I have? I have exposed two cards, an ace and a two, clubs, diamonds, in suits that we've already removed. So, comparatively speaking, this is just far less valuable. Um, but so this, I'm going to put a 5-4 in the space, and what 5-4 do I want to put in the space? Uh, we have diamonds, we have hearts. Uh, I think what I'll do is put these diamonds in the space over that way. And then, I hate to do this without thinking about it a lot, but it just gets very complicated. So here goes the spade. I've given up my space, and I'm hoping that now I can move I'm going to be able to get my three of spades back here. I do that. Well, it's easy to do that. Okay. So now I have my spades pretty much back in order, but I'm going to move them over to column 1. Okay. And, let's see. There's the two of spades on it. So if an ace of spades comes up, we're ready to get that suit off. Now, this is the card to uncover here. The opportunities for reclaiming spaces are not the greatest. We have this 5-4 and this 9. This column is just not going to cut it. So I want to put this. I want to put this 7 of hearts or its moral equivalent in the space, with the idea that it's going to be fairly atomic. And could I do it with some other suit? Let's see. There's a 7, a 6 of clubs. It's not obvious. so now I have we'll have 3 chances to get a space back, assuming nothing interesting happens when I uncover this last card. And when I do it, I get an 8. Now an 8 is good for because I can just take it right back. I can also think about if I'm going to put that 8 on a 9, of course, I want atomic stuff under it. So this is the thing where, one thing I can do here is, put this 9 in the space, breaking up my spades, but making it more, giving myself an atomic option to get out of there. Not try optimizing this too much. I'm going to leave my atomic spades there in the space. I'm going to leave this atomic over here. I'm just going to look under here, see what I got. I got a 10. Well, I have two receiving jacks, so that's good. And I'll be able to reclaim the space again. So that's all good. See, now another thing I note is that, oh, I have two spaces. I can do a swap here, and I might very well want to do that. If I put this king of spades in the space, which I'm hoping to remove soon anyway, then when this 6 is exposed, I can take back a space with that 5-4. And getting the hearts nearly ready to go is certainly a nice high priority here. But there's lots of little cleanup to do. Maybe I'll just do some of it without commenting too much. Got the clubs together there. We're going to put the spade suit. That's what we're going to put in the space, is the spade suit. This over here can be a junk column for the moment. But it doesn't have to be totally junky. If we can get the 8 of spades on the 9, that's good. Oh, here's a king of diamonds and a king of clubs. That's no reason we can't put that together. I want to be building my hearts on this king in the space, not the king that has a card under it. It's a sort of safety play. There, got the hearts from jack down to 7 again, jack down to 4. Now we can pay the spades back. And spades are here and pretty much ready. Okay, the hearts. Yes, we've told them we want the 2 ace of hearts together. Yeah, we'll have one space left, so here we go. Give up a space. Put our hearts together as best we can. See what's we got under there. We have a 10 of diamonds. Okay. Certainly has a home. There are jacks there, so we get a 9 of hearts. Well, you know, this 10 could also be used to get this 9, but we have under it the 2 and a 4, which are not really any use to us at all at the moment. So, okay, we got hearts ready to go. We've got spades ready to go. And we'll see what's under this 9. It is an ace. I was hoping it would be an ace of spades, but that's not the ace I got. Now I get a 6 of hearts. Okay, here's a case where, once again, I really am only going to have, well, what's under the 6 hopefully will let me get a space back. I could take my chances on that. In fact, I could count kings here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All 8 kings have been seen, so I'm not going to bring up another king at least. If I put this 6 in the space, then I can get a space back with either of those. And I can't immediately think of any great reason to do it differently with one space. So here we go. And I get an ace of spades just after the nick of time because I used up my last two. However, we're in pretty good shape going into the final deal, I think. And let's see what we get. Here's the last deal, and it's quite disappointing. I believe we have lost, and I might call this death by constipation, basically. We're very, very close, if only a few things were a little bit different. Um, for instance, well, we were hoping that we would be able to get space back with sixes, but we did not get sevens. If we look at our spider wing output, two of the five unseen cards now are sevens, so that's not great. Um, but we, for instance, right here in columns 3 and 4, it would be wonderful if we could put the queen on the king and the 3 on the 4, but we can't do it. We have no accessible king to move the queen onto, no 4 to move the 3 onto. Aces can't be moved either. So, there's really nothing to do. You can think about, building your spoots up. So look, here's a heart suit. If we could just move that 3 of clubs somewhere, then we could, then we could make a heart suit. But guess what? We can't do that. Um, so, sometimes it's what happens. In retrospect, if I had not uncovered this last card, I would have a better chance. But uh, it's just wound up here too tightly is one way to put it. I mean, but you can see as soon as if I could get a single space somewhere, then I could be removing the hearts, and then in note short, it could be moving the spades, and then 2 suits, and everything would be going great. But I can't get started here. I really can't. Of course, maybe there's something I'm not seeing, but as I see it, this ace, I can move the 8, but the ace won't move. I can move the 10, but then I could move this onto the 3, but I can't get any further there. Can't move the queen. I can move the 9, but then I have another ace that doesn't move. I can move the 8. I have an ace 2 that'll move, but then the 3 won't move anywhere. And similarly over here, I could move the 5. I can get the 10 and there, and I can put the 5 into space. But I can't do any more than that. So that's what happens sometimes. You have a good start, and then you lose.